If you're a chiropractor feeling stressed and overwhelmed, this video is for you. I am going to give you some of my secret strategies, systems, and hacks to help you deal with that stress and break through some of these barriers. It is time to take control of your practice. In today's video, we're going to cover where does stress come from? Where does that chaos in the office come from? And how to squash it. How to make sure you have a clear path moving forward. And then we're going to go into one of my favorite secret hacks to help organize your team to get things done. Nothing crushes stress like moving things forward. And then stay tuned to the end because I'm going to give you the secret to accelerate this whole process so that you can buy back your time. Stay tuned. Let's dive in. We have found that most practice owners start to feel stress when their practice starts to grow. And it's because the practice is a very different entity from when it's seeing a couple hundred patients to now doubling and tripling that volume. All those people coming into the practice creates vibration, and it's that vibration that the team begins to feel. The phone's ringing off the hook, the paperwork that needs to be done, the marketing that's coming in, the leads that need to be followed up with. It can be very stressful. And we compare that to what's called the daily whirlwind. And when you're in the daily whirlwind and you get sucked in, the next thing you know, it's lunch, and then the next thing you know, it's the end of the day, and you still haven't even gotten your notes done. That's stressful because you know you have to keep up. But when we start getting behind, we start getting frustrated. And it's very easy to start losing our purpose. Why did we even build this practice to begin with? Now that we have things in motion, how do we actually stay connected to why I became a chiropractor? You picked this model of healthcare because it is the best. It is the fastest way to help patients naturally. And I just want to stop for a second, help pull you back to why you're here and make sure that you're still connected to your why. Showing up to the practice with no purpose is like starting an auto race with no gas in the tank. You're not going to get very far. And your team needs clear leadership. The team is following you, and a leader is one of those things that if you will develop your skill sets on, you will create so much clarity and energy for your team, but they're looking for a clear path. So getting back to your roots of why you became a chiropractor, and now you're having some success, but there's actually got to be an identity shift because in order to grow this practice, you don't need just a chiropractor. You actually need this second identity. The second identity is what we call the leader identity. And I want to ask you this question. How many followers do you have? Now, I'm not talking about how many followers on social media. I'm talking about people that literally will follow you because that's what leadership is. It's not just barking orders. It's not just telling people because you hold a position. It's true followership. You have a team looking to you on where are we going? And there's nothing worse than having a team when you come back from a seminar and you've bought a bunch of gadgets or the next program and you're trying to shove that into the practice and they're like, oh, Doc's got another thing for us. Your team doesn't want another thing. What they want from you is clarity. Clarity means we know the roadmap. We are clear on our identity of a practice, our vision, our core values, and whom we serve. When you get very clear on that and you stop wasting time with the noise and get really focused on the things that will move the practice forward, that's when the team starts to follow the leader. The leader has a voice, and do you know your voice? Have you really developed your leadership voice and it's clear to your team and your team is ready to follow the leader? I was working with a doctor who was, having a successful practice, but had a lot of internal struggle within their own identity, was struggling with who they were, and wasn't even paying themselves very much money. They were really just pouring the money back into the practice. And so they began to resent the practice because it wasn't even paying them very much money to even be there. And I had to sit down with this doctor and have the conversation of, who are you? Why are you doing this? And if you are not healthy and have the leadership confidence, how will you ever expect your team to fall in line? and actually do the work. Well, that doctor finally had that realization, that epiphany that changed everything. They began to pay themselves what they were worth. They began to demand the work from their team. They got clear on their vision and their core values. And guess what? The team started to listen. They started to show up different. Instead of pushing back against some of the systems they were trying to implement, they adopted them because they had clarity on the path that they were moving forward on. So if you want to stop the stress, if you want to calm the chaos, you've got to take on your identity from your chiropractor, doctor identity, and adopt your leadership voice. Develop that within. Well, guys, if you haven't picked this up from me yet, I love to over-deliver. I want to help you build the life of your dreams. And so we're building this channel for you to give you clarity and guidance in your professional development. And if you like this content, subscribe, right? Hit that like button. Make sure you adjust that notifications, turn it on so you get notified every time we release new content. All right, enough of that. Let's get back in and keep diving forward. All right, the second system I want to give to you is actually a piece of our Profit Accelerator system, and it's what I call the fire drill. Now, what in the world is a fire drill? I want you to think about this. When I was a teenager, we did this stupid thing where we would pull up to a red light, and every red light we stopped at, all the friends in the car would have to get out, run around the car, and dive back into the car before it turned green, right? We called that the fire drill. We compare that to this very short meeting that we do weekly that is 15 minutes, and what it's focused on is tasks. Now, we call it the fire drill because a fire drill is something we train on, right? As we got more and more red lights, we got better and better at running around the car, jumping back in and taking off before it turned green. This is something that you guys will get better and better at as you exercise your fire drill. And it is task management. If an organization isn't clear on the tasks that they need to accomplish by when and by who, then the organization gets caught up in the whirlwind. There's always going to be things that take your time. And you've got to get clarity on the things that if you accomplish, it will move you forward. So a task management system can be done in two ways. You can go new school or old school. The new school is adopting just a task management system. One of my personal favorites is called ClickUp. We'll link that below. You can use it for free. It's an incredible system that helps you organize tasks. You can do it in lists. You can put it into dashboards. It will send out notifications to your team when a task is due, when it's overdue. It's incredible. It really helps organize the team on getting things done. You can use other ones like Monday or Asana or Basecamp. There's tons of them out there. I don't care what you use. You just need to have a task management system. Now, if you're a little old school and you don't want to go digital, you can easily go whiteboard in the office. Now, this is probably somewhere you want to have in the back office where the whole, all your patients are going to see this. But a whiteboard needs to be used during team meetings. So the team can actually see both your dashboard of your data, and we can see the dashboard, right, of tasks. What is our quarterly prime mover that we've talked about in other videos that we will link here? So if you don't know what I'm talking about with the prime mover, you can go learn about that. You can identify what do we need to do this week, this month, to actually hit our goals, the thing that will move everything forward. It's getting clear on those tasks and the dates and who's going to accomplish them. If you have a small team, it's pretty easy, right? It falls on you or the other team member. But recognize that teams grow, and if you follow our systems, you will have no choice but to hire. And as you build that team, because you're scaling, you're gonna have to get more organized. And the task management system helps with the stress, helps with the chaos, because you see tasks getting done, they're getting checked off, and that means the work's moving forward. And it just feels better. Anytime we go into a room that's chaos and we organize it, it feels better because we're beings of order. I truly believe we were designed to organize, to create, and you, as a doctor, as a leader, have to take that role to set the example for your team of what order looks like, how to take the chaos and bring it to clarity on what's getting accomplished and where we're going. It's a beautiful thing. All right, guys, before I dive into tip number 3, I want to just ask you guys, I want to get to know our audience a little bit. Do you mind commenting below and just putting in there, how many years or months have you been in practice? I would love to know, because obviously there's content for new practice owners, startups, all the way to multi-locations, and I just want to know this audience. Please comment below. How long have you been in practice, and how many locations do you have? Please post that below. We would love to know, and again, we can continue to create great content specifically for you. All right, number 3, if you really want to calm the chaos, calm the storm in your practice, again, we want to get clear about celebrations. The reason why celebrations create clarity in the practice is because we have a finish line, somewhere where if we can cross, we're going to breathe for a second. Sometimes we put our head down, and because we're the practice owner, we just grind. And believe me, I'm a grinder. I can grind for probably months, if not years, as I push through barriers. But I realized very early in building teams that because they didn't have as much skin in the game as I did as the practice owner, they began to get a little tired. They began to start picking up their head and looking around like, what did I sign up for? And so as we began to set clear lines where if we crossed with a goal, we would celebrate, it really rejuvenated us. We were able to pause for a second and celebrate our success, really recognize all the work we had put in, and that we were now a completely different organization than we were 90 days ago or 6 months ago. Now, in our bonus systems that we teach, we really connect every team member to a KPI, the system that they're driving and making sure that is moving forward and producing that product. But I want you to sit down and really identify, as we talk again about that prime mover, if we hit this and when we hit this. So we really talk about that prime mover being the thing that moves the organization forward. So when we set a clear volume and a clear date by when that's going to be hit, now the team's pushing forward towards that. There's clarity that that's the thing we need to stay focused on. And when we get there, we are going to celebrate. And I want you to put together a celebration that's meaningful for the team. Maybe you guys are going to dinner together. Maybe there's a day at the park. Maybe you guys are going to, an amusement park, something to just play and blow off some steam and celebrate your success. You are a successful doctor. You belong to a profession that is the most incredible healing profession on the planet. Like, let's show up and be that way. Show up and be a leader for your team. Learn how to calm the chaos in your practice and harness that energy to drive it into team and your patients, and you will begin to change lives. That energy will feed back to you. You will continue to grow as a human being and truly live to your potential as a doctor, as a leader, and as the driver of your practice. Now, if you love this kind of content, I've got a gift for you. If you want to accelerate all of this, you don't have to just wait for our next video. You can actually join our 10-day challenge. It's turn your data into dollars, and we're going to show you how to harness that data, what you should be tracking, and actually how to turn that into measurable cash flow. So sign up today. It's free. Come join a community of doctors that are taking massive action.